All right, got another lesson here for you. This one is for, looks like Shandon Fig or Shandon Fig. What would help me is how to integrate triads into my playing, perhaps adding a visual sheet of the scales of a particular lesson on the screen would make things a little easier. It definitely would make things easier. I'd have to do a little research on how to do that. I've got a pretty basic program that I'm using here. But as far as the triads go, we can tackle that a little bit here. So that's a great question. And, you know, there's a few different things to think about with the triads. One is it's definitely a good amount of work involved. So just be prepared, but it's very fruitful, and it is a really important way to see the fretboard and see harmonies. For example, if I'm playing, like, say if I'm just going from an A major, let's just go to the 4 to a D. Now if I know my triads well, there's my A, D, back to the A, D. So what am I doing here? Get the picture a little bit better here. What am I doing here? I'm just moving through the triads one note at a time. Now some people might kind of call this like arpeggios, and it's somewhat accurate, but for the most part, what you want to be able to do is to move through these triads smoothly. And so the first thing I would suggest is to take a look at, let's just take a look at the triads for your A major chord, and we're just going to be dealing with the D string, G string, and B string, aka strings 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and we're going to just see the triad shape. Now with the triads, we're just looking at a 1, 3, and a 5. Okay, so in this first one we've got 5, 1, 3, second inversion. Then we've got our first inversion here, 1, 3, 5. And then we got our first inversion, 3, 5, 1. Now this is just a beginner kind of lesson. So the first thing I would do is to play those back and forth with a metronome. If you want to use a pick, go for it. You might want to mute some strings, because I'm only just playing those 3 strings. Or if you want to do your fingers, I typically hybrid, so I sometimes use my fingers and a pick. Sometimes I do just the pick, just the fingers. Have fun with it. Whatever you want to do. This is just 3 spots here. Now you can do a lot with these 3 spots. Now after you get these locations down, a good thing to do is to start maybe playing one note at a time. So I'm going to go up this one, down this one, up this one, and then maybe I'll go down, up, down. So this is really just an exercise here. It's a great exercise. So maybe, and then go all the different kind of ways. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Take your time with this and really get good at it. And then a really cool exercise that's gonna, after you do that, make sure you take your time. Now with that, say I'm gonna play this A major chord here. I'm gonna go ahead and include the root there. now I'm going to start saying some things. You see what I'm saying? You can get some really cool things coming out of that. So now, obviously, I've put a lot of time into this, so be patient with yourself. But all I just did there was I was just playing these triads. That's all I'm playing in that. And then now you can do a lot of cool solo guitar stuff doing that. So if I'm doing that, then I go to a D chord. I'm just doing the same thing. Maybe go to an E, D. So that's just like a 1-4-5 thing. That's a really good way to start working with your triads. So that's one way to look at it. Just play triads only. That's the hardest way to do it. It's the most frustrating, but it's the most fruitful. Eventually what you're going to do is you're going to see how they fit in the pentatonic scale. Because again, this is the 1-3-5. So our major pentatonic is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So if I'm doing that, I can start adding the 2 and the 6 to my triad, which ends up being the major pentatonic shape, the pentatonic shape that we see all over the fretboard. But if you don't know your triad shapes, you're not going to be able to be rooted and grounded in the chord. So if I know my triad shapes, I can really hit those triads and end in the triad if I want to, if I want to resolve it. And then also just using the 2 and the 6 for color. There's the 6, there's the 2, 6, and then just the triad there in first inversion. And this is just using one part of the guitar here. Now there's definitely all kinds of exercises you can do for triads, but take your time with it. When I first started learning triads, I kind of dove in pretty hardcore, so I basically did this kind of thing where there's 3 per string set, and this is the A. There's the ones we just started using there in this lesson. So there's 12, and it's totally worth it to move through these like this, because these are the foundation of the chords of the harmony. So yeah, take your time with it. If you want to start playing some things right away, just stick with maybe 1 string set, maybe the meat of the guitar, this part that I was just showing you. If you want to really get after it, go ahead and play them on all the string sets. And I can make another lesson for that. That's just really, I probably will, honestly, focused on triads and how they're built specifically. But this one, I just wanted to address your question, how to use them in your playing. So that's kind of how it's done there. And limiting yourself to just playing the triads is going to help you see the triads all over the fretboard. And then eventually you can play the pentatonic scale, the major scale, but also superimposing the triads in there, you can end your phrases on the triads. Or sometimes it sounds just great just playing the triads. So I hope this lesson helps a little bit. And any more questions or comments, let me know. I definitely will probably do maybe a deeper dive into the triads as far as seeing the shapes. And I'm going to try to figure out how to maybe get some cool patterns editing into the video. I really have no idea how to do that, but you know, we'll see what happens. All right, peace out.